I want to ask you real quick about, there are a lot of folks that will, there's no doubt that you're principled in what you believe. Your critics will say you're so principled to the point where you're not going to cut a deal at all. What do you tell folks like that who say, look, this guy is making problems within his own party, so how's he going to even work with Democrats here? What's the answer to that?
Well, look, on the allegation that gets repeated over and over again in the mainstream media that Cruz won't compromise, which, by the way, they say about almost every conservative, it's simply nonsense. It's nothing that's ever come out of my mouth. In fact, from the day I was elected, here's what I've said. My attitude on compromise is the same as Ronald Reagan's. Reagan said, what do you do if they offer you half a loaf? Answer, you take it. And then you come back for more. So let's use an example that we were just talking about, the flat tax. That's where I'd like to end up. Now, we may not be able to get there in one step. So if we end up agreeing to tax reform that simplifies the code, that lowers the rates, that reduces the burden on the American people, I would happily sign that legislation, declare victory, improve the status quo, and then come back and keep working towards a flat tax. I'll take half a loaf in a heartbeat. Here's what Washington gets wrong. They far too often compromise going backwards. They compromise in a way that makes things worse. And when I said from day one, I'm happy to compromise with anybody, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, I've joked, I'll compromise with Martians if they're willing to shrink the size and power of the federal government, if they're willing to turn around the debt that is bankrupting our kids and grandkids, they're willing to defend our constitutional liberties and expand liberty. But what I'm not willing to do is be complicit in making the problem worse.